So Sony has now released the movie The Interview, and it's out on video on demand, and it's going to be releasing in some theaters. And so far, we've actually managed to avoid thermonuclear war, so that's a plus. And while we focused on a lot of the negative things surrounding this story, there are actually a lot of positive things that I do want to make you aware of. I'm kind of like an optimist for the most part. I see the glass is half full. So there are some positive things that have come out of this bad situation. So the first thing is, this is going to be a nice little research project for Sony because, before the hacks even took place, the movie was being promoted, it was being marketed out there. And this is the first movie that I'm aware of that has been marketed to this degree and then been simultaneously released on video on demand. And so you may see something where Sony gets their figures back and they may be really happy with this. And so this may be something that they try to do in the future with different releases. Or at least if they don't release on the same day, you may see it a lot sooner than what it has been in the past. So that's one thing that could possibly come out of this. But another piece of news that is kind of strange but also positive is who actually allied up with Sony and who actually stood with Sony during all this. And it turns out that the New York Times is reporting that Sony actually went to cable and they went to dish networks. They were wanting to see if those platforms would want to rent this movie out. And they declined along with Apple. So Apple, the cable networks, Dish, they all said no to Sony and renting this movie. But it was actually Google and Microsoft who stood up and actually came out in full support of Sony. So here is what Microsoft stated after it was revealed that you were going to be able to watch The Interview on your Xbox and your PC. Here's their statement, quote, "A cyber attack on anyone's rights is a cyber attack on everyone's rights, and together we need to defend against it. In the United States, freedom of expression is a fundamental principle that is protected by law. Our Constitution guarantees for every person the right to decide what books to read, what movies to watch, and even what games to play. In the 21st century, there is no more important place for that right to be exercised than on the internet. After substantial thought, we decided to stand with Sony and work with others to ensure that freedom of expression triumphs over cyber terrorism. We, of course, appreciate that there are varied views regarding this film. That's true of many works and many issues. We're not endorsing this movie or any other, but we are supporting the constitutional right of free expression, and we hope that by acting together, we will help deter other attacks." So Microsoft is releasing the film on Xbox Video, Windows Phone, PC. Google was allowing it on Google Play and YouTube, and Google also played an instrumental role in bringing this all together, it was stated. Sony also put out a press release of their own. They said, quote, "It has always been Sony's intention to have a national platform on which to release this film. With that in mind, we reached out to Google, Microsoft, and other partners last Wednesday, December the 17th, when it became clear our initial release plans were not possible. We are pleased we can now join with our partners to offer this film nationwide today. We never stopped pursuing as wide a release as possible for The Interview. It was essential for our studio to release this movie, especially given the assault upon our business and our employees by those who wanted to stop free speech. We chose the path of digital distribution first so as to reach as many people as possible on opening day, and we continue to seek other partners and platforms to further expand the release. I want to thank Google and Microsoft for helping make this a reality. This release represents our commitment to our filmmakers and free speech. While we couldn't have predicted the road this movie traveled to get to this moment, I'm proud our fight was not for nothing and that cyber criminals were not able to silence us. No doubt the issues we have confronted these last few weeks will not end with this release, but we are gratified to have stood together and confident in our future. I want to thank everyone at Sony Pictures for their dedication and perseverance through what has been an extraordinary and difficult time." Now, it's also been reported that both Google and Microsoft have been working with Sony's security team and that Sony's IT department gave them an in-depth knowledge and briefing of the infiltration and how it occurred on their network. And Microsoft and Google have both been working behind the scenes on upgrading their security to prevent attacks that may occur due to them releasing this film with Sony. So they have been taking extra precaution, and they said that's why everything needed to get brought up to speed before they actually made the announcement. So information is being shared, which hopefully could improve the security for all these tech giants, and some ice was broken that could allow for future business ventures, possibly. Now, there are reports that ironically the movie wasn't released on the PS4 as of yet. I'm not sure what the current situation is. It may be out there right now, but Sony has stated that it will release on the PS4 at some time to be determined. Now, a lot of people may be asking, how in the world could that be? Why wouldn't they release it on their platforms? But it may just be sort of like a deal, sort of like how you can't go directly to a factory where they build cars and buy a car directly from them. You have to go to a dealership, and they do that because it would be kind of unfair to the dealerships if people could go directly to the factory and get it at cost. So it would kind of put them out of business. So it may be something similar where they've got some sort of written up contract where they're not going to release it for a certain period of time. But if you are on the PS4, you can definitely still watch the movie. There are ways around it. Somebody was saying that you could go onto your PC or whatever, get it from Google, rent it, and then pull up your YouTube app on PlayStation 4 and then watch the movie from there. But some people were saying, at least Kotaku was reporting, that if you tried to buy the movie directly from the YouTube app in PS4, then some people were getting errors. So again, I'm not sure what the exact deal on that is, but you can definitely watch the film on PS4 if you need to. So Sony and Microsoft standing together as one against cyber terrorism and for free speech. Post below, let me know, has pigs started to fly yet? Has hell frozen over? Does this surprise you? And aren't you glad that some executives don't always act like the raging fanboys that buy their products? That does it for me, the Red Dragon. Want to read more? Links down in the description box. Follow me on Twitter and keep up on VGN for the latest. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.